Hi, welcome to this edition of Mailbox. You're welcome. My name is Wale Ekundayo, and we have
Amadesho. On this episode of Mailbox, we'll be addressing different mails from different people from all over the world. We have Ipling from Pretoria. He says, I'm being blackmailed. I did a lot of things in my past and I'm not proud of. Unfortunately, one of it is exchange notes with my ex-boyfriend, who was abusive and manipulative. It took a lot to break up with him. This was 7 years ago. Now he's back telling me to either come back to him or he releases the nude. I'm so scared. Please, what can I do?
Well, it's a simple matter. When there is an issue of blackmail, first of all, the truth about the matter is this: you've got to let the police know about this particular situation. And number two is that you cannot afford to give in to any form of blackmail whatsoever. All right, you cannot afford to give in to blackmail. The moment you yield, you are going to be a slave for the rest of your life. It's nudes today, it's this today. What will it be tomorrow? You don't even know to what extent they can possibly go. So our counsel is this: you've got to speak to the police about this, number one. Number two, also, you've got to make peace with yourself that what's the worst that could happen on this subject matter. Because if you don't, you're going to be in this particular bondage. I know what the challenge will be like, which is, your reputation will be damaged. There will be a lot of mess going on and all whatnot. And which is why, again, our final counsel, which is actually the most important counsel, is you've got to take this up with prayer in God. God is still in the business of changing people's minds on any subject matter, all right? And that's what's going to help you out eventually, where the guy does not have that desire again, not for you for releasing the nudes, or possibly, and God does things in mysterious ways. It could disappear mysteriously from his phone, all right? So we will really counsel that, first of all, is a situation of blackmail is a civil case, which means that you've got to speak to, it's a criminal case, all right? You've got to speak to the police, the authorities about this, and then take it up to God in prayer. Yeah?
Yeah, so moving on from what you said, yes, pray about it, because every situation definitely needs prayer. So when it comes to issues of blackmail, just like you mentioned, it's a civil case. However, I don't think you should give in. So, once you start wanting to micromanage conversation on blackmail, it keeps getting worse.
Expand.
You see, you have to resolve this thing within you, that whatever comes out of it, you will deal it, and you're dealing it once and for all. Yeah. So he comes and starts saying whatever, you report to the authority, they are doing nothing about it. He wants to put your nudes on the internet. I think you should go ahead. So because for people that blackmail, they just want to instill that fear in you. Once they see that mechanism, they've gotten your attention on this particular thing, or you are scared about a situation, don't forget that he also has his reputation to protect. Because if you are sharing my nude, at least his nude came from a source, even if it's coming from
this guy.
Yes, there are 1,001 issues that people want to deal with. Maybe they deal with your nude 1 or 2 days. I know it's not as easy as I'm saying. However, do not give in to blackmail. Whenever it comes, face it, report it, and then deal with the person squarely. Do not negotiate. Do not have a conversation, because the more you try to do that, because somebody that's coming after 7 years is being vindictive. Vindictive. So I think pray about it, and then let him go ahead with whatever he wants to do. That will take us to our next mail from Adams from Kwara. Adam says, I have a friend who has a bad reputation. My close friend has a reputation of lying. He is a chronic liar. His lies has put me in the middle of his mess so many times. Aside the lies, he's a very kind person, caring to a fault, but the lies most times overshadow his good side. He has been good to me so many times that I feel disloyal for wanting to cut ties with him. How do I handle this?
Okay,
Adams from Kwara.
All right. The solution is actually, so there are certain solutions that are already in the scriptures, right? And one of which is this particular subject. Now, when you have someone who has a character flaw, all right, the truth about the matter is that most people do not take it up in prayer, when they have friends, they think it's a social thing. Friendship is not just social. You pray for your friends. This is one of the things that Job did not do when he was going through the situation he went through. And in the final way to get out of that particular situation, scripture recorded that Job prayed for his friends. Now, what you do in a friendship situation is that consistently and constantly you take up your friends in the place of prayer to God, not to change their character, even when there is absolutely nothing. When there is nothing, say for instance, like a character flaw and all of that. In fact, what happens in the place of prayer is that God begins to reveal to you things that could possibly hurt you. Maybe they're going to lose someone or something like that. I mean, the list is quite endless when it comes to conversations with your friends, all right? And one of the things we do as friendship, the same thing you do for your family members, everybody must intercede consistently for their family members, even if they are Christians, because there are certain things that God will reveal to you that He won't reveal to them. So even if this guy is not kind, but you call this person a friend, all right? Every time you mention that this person is your friend, and when you say you are praying for someone, it's not a one-off. If you say to someone, I'm praying for you, which means praying means an action word and means consistency, you must have a time that you dedicate to your friends where you pray for them. Now, when you pray for him, what's going to happen is that God will begin to, work on the inside of him to modify his character without you having to even interfere in God's process by saying, oh, don't you think you should stop this line? If you could stop, you would have stopped. Right. So he's not going to be able to stop because it's a character flaw that is fundamentally on the inside of him. And the more you pray for him, the more God begins to help him to move him to the place where he wants him to be.
Yeah. It's a character issue, so it's beyond your control, but at least it's good that you actually mentioned, because I was about to ask you a question, why are you guys still friends? But you've mentioned issues like he's caring to a fault, he's good, it's just that line overshadows that, so he's even out of his control. So because for a caring person, caring and lying, they don't
go together.
They don't.
So there's a deep
there must be, because you can't use the word caring for.
Because if you care, you don't lie.
You don't lie. Yeah. That was what I'm about to say. So something is not right somewhere. And to actually depict what is not right is the power of prayer. Yes. So just genuinely is your friend, you want him or her to change, continue to pray for her. And I'm sure you'll see changes. Right. So that takes us to our last episode last question. Mail of this episode is, we have a mail from Moses from Ghana. Moses says, how to help my over-expressive sister. He says, my sister is that type who speaks loudly, gesticulating a lot and can be in your face whenever she's talking about a topic she's passionate about. She doesn't know how to draw the line when she's speaking to older people, including her mother-in-law, who I've noticed find it disrespectful. I've noticed her husband mention it a few times. I don't want to get involved, but I can see a potential problem coming soon. What do I do? Culturally, as Africans, we kind of have certain things about certain people. But this same passion in the boardroom, this same passion will be termed to mean something else, right? In the boardroom, let's say, for instance, you're not passionate about what you're talking about. It will send a certain body language to people that you're not passionate about it, and they might not give you a deal, so to speak. So, and how do you control that? At the very least, this is to our own advantage and also to everybody around. They essentially know where she belongs on any subject matter. Right. So she doesn't know how to hide her feelings. I want to believe that. So at the risk of trying to influence that is I don't see passion as a flaw. I see passion as an advantage. Now, in terms of relating with other people, they might get offended, they might be on the bad side of people, but to be honest, we are an advocate of, you become who you are, so to speak. But then again, if you, for instance, see it as a fundamental flaw, I think you should keep praying for her, all right, such that she knows how to navigate that areas when it comes to elderly people, all right, when it comes to people who are
authority figures over our life and all of that, But to be honest, if you ask me, passion is a good thing. It's a really good thing. There are so many people who are dispassionate or unpassionate about anything. And to be honest, they leave a bad taste in most people's mouths as well as the people who are passionate.
Okay. So the last line says, but I can see a potential problem coming soon. So the problem is not even here. So it's Moses that is seeing the problem coming soon. So to a certain extent, I can relate a little to someone being expressive.
Right.
So sometimes we misinterpret people. Yes, being passionate and being rude. They are separate things entirely. Let me give you an instance. So if you have somebody that used to live like in a cubicle, like a face me and face you, where you all whisper to each other and you talk. And then there's another person that lives in a very big house that from the living room I can be having a conversation to the other person. I can be having a conversation. Now these two set of people, where you put them, according to research, human nature, when you put them in a space, that person that is used to having a closure will still be having that closure. So that you are talking in a low voice or you are not expressing yourself does not mean you are if we would deal with the issue separately, if she's not being rude, if it's about her gesticulation and her passion, that can be dealt with.
Right.
And then from this conversation also, there are two things that are off. So you said you've seen the husband complain about this a lot, which is very wrong. So between couples, when there are things that maybe your partner is doing that is a bit embarrassing or you're not comfortable with, I don't think addressing it in public with other people is a way to go. Then the second part of the conversation is that I think she's new in marriage. I don't know who the person is, but she must be new in marriage, because if you notice the story, the mother-in-law is involved. You can't consistently be discharging that energy year in, year out. Over time.
There's something, eventually life would in some way shape you to come into
know that
a certain
it's not every
point
conversation that you really need to be gesticulating or making noise about. So then I think you too, what you are seeing coming soon, please try and switch it to the good part. So it looks like you are seeing danger coming soon,
so
as far as our character.
That.
It's like you're speaking that kind of into space. So I think you should just try as much as possible to, if it's your friend you want to have a conversation with, or if you're closer to the woman as well, you might let her see things from different perspectives. There's a way you tell people to go to hell and they look forward to the truth. So all you just want to say, why not, instead of dealing issues like this, it's not everybody. Exactly. So because if it's something that is of concern and everybody is already saying, oh, you are too, you never said she was rude. So if it's not being rude,
people perceive it.
So, and then most times too, it's the person that is with the loud voice in a space that everybody feels is aggressive. Even when you're making a point, then somebody comes and now say, oh, and then you say, oh, this person is calm. And he might be saying rubbish. So I just think it's just part of some mechanics that in communication that you need to put yourself together, ensure that your voice is not larger than life. Don't be the one talking all the time. Don't be the one. And it's not, you have to choose your battle. It's not in every conversation you must have a contribution. Your voice must be loud. You must be expressive. Even sometimes, some issues, if you don't even talk about it, you find out that at the end of the day, you say, thank God I didn't talk.
Yeah, the thing resolves itself.
Thank God it resolves itself. So
and you have vindicated in the process.
I mean, from our advice, I think we've been able to deal your question.
All right, so we've come to the end of Mailbox this episode. God bless you. Thank you, and join us next episode.
Thank you.